I'm sure you've heard the news. America's reputation as a global leader in education is being put to the test like never before. Welcome to American Times. Please like and subscribe as we dive into a story that's shaking the world of higher education. Picture this, it's the height of a global pandemic. Streets are eerily empty, cities are silent, and the world is holding its breath. In the United States, life as we know it has come to a standstill. People are staying home, businesses are shuttered, and the once bustling college campuses now echo with silence. To protect students and staff, U.S. universities make a difficult but necessary decision. All classes move online. Professors teach from their living rooms, students attend lectures from bedrooms and kitchen tables, and the sense of community is replaced by digital screens. The goal is simple: keep everyone safe while continuing education. But then, in the midst of this crisis, the Trump administration drops a bombshell. A new rule is announced. International students whose courses are fully online must leave the country or risk deportation. The news spreads like wildfire, catching students and universities completely off guard. Overnight, hundreds of thousands of international students are thrown into chaos. They face an impossible choice: risk their health by traveling during a pandemic, or abandon their studies and dreams in the U.S. Many are left scrambling for answers, unsure where to turn. University leaders are left in a bind. Should they prioritize public health and keep classes online, or switch to in-person instruction just to keep their international students enrolled? The stakes are high and the pressure is immense. These students are not just numbers, they are vital members of the academic community, contributing to research, culture, and campus life. For international students, the policy is a nightmare come true. Many have invested years of hard work and thousands of dollars to study in America. Now their futures hang in the balance, threatened by a rule that feels both arbitrary and deeply unfair. Some are forced to pack up and leave on short notice, saying tearful goodbyes to friends and mentors. This move is not an isolated incident. It fits into a broader pattern of tightening immigration policies, sending a clear message. Foreigners are less welcome than before. Protests erupt, and critics argue that the policy is not just about public health, but about exclusion. The consequences ripple far beyond individual students. America's reputation as a global leader in higher education is at stake. For decades, the U.S. has been seen as the golden ticket for ambitious students worldwide. Now many are left wondering if that dream is fading. The message to the world is stark. The U.S. may no longer be a reliable or welcoming destination for international talent. Students question whether it's worth the risk to invest in an American education, and some begin to look elsewhere. The long-term damage could be severe. America risks losing the next generation of scientists, entrepreneurs, and leaders to countries that are eager to welcome them. Nations like Canada, the UK, and Australia stand ready to benefit from this exodus of talent. The shockwaves extend far beyond college campuses. Families, communities, and even economies feel the impact. The world is watching closely, and doubts are growing about whether the U.S. can still claim to be a beacon for global education and opportunity. As America's competitors seize the moment, the question remains: will the U.S. adapt and reclaim its place as a welcoming destination, or will it watch its global influence slip away? The world is watching, and so are America's rivals. American universities didn't sit back. They fought back. Across the country, campuses erupted in protest and outrage, as students, faculty, and administrators quickly mobilized to defend their international peers. The sense of urgency was palpable, with rallies, petitions, and emergency meetings springing up overnight. Harvard and MIT led a high-profile lawsuit against the government, calling the policy reckless and unlawful. Their legal challenge was swift and decisive, sending a clear message that the academic community would not tolerate policies that threatened their students' futures. Soon, dozens of universities and tech giants like Google and Facebook joined the fight, recognizing what was at stake for both education and innovation. The coalition grew rapidly, uniting institutions and companies that rarely found themselves on the same side of an issue. This wasn't just about one rule, it was about defending the soul of American higher education. Universities argued that their core values, openness, diversity, and academic freedom, were under attack. Universities argued the government was punishing them for prioritizing public health. They had shifted to online learning to keep their communities safe, and now faced the threat of losing thousands of students for doing the right thing. The legal battle quickly became a symbol of resistance against anti-immigrant policies. Students and faculty stood together, not just for themselves, but for the principles of inclusion and opportunity that define American education. Under mounting pressure from universities, tech companies, and a wave of public outcry, the Trump administration reversed the rule just a week later. The decision was met with widespread relief and celebration. Relief swept across campuses as thousands of students no longer faced deportation. For many, it was a moment of hope and validation, proof that collective action could make a difference. The episode proved that united action can overturn unjust policies. It showed the power of solidarity within the academic community and beyond. But the damage to America's reputation was done. Other countries took note. The world watched as the U.S. seemed to turn its back on the very students it once welcomed. The world saw that U.S. policies could change overnight, and trust was shaken. Families and students everywhere began to question the stability and reliability of an American education. The question now, would international students look elsewhere? As universities around the globe compete for talent, the U.S. faces a new challenge, rebuilding trust and proving it remains a welcoming destination for the world's brightest minds. For international students, this wasn't just politics. It was a deeply personal crisis that upended their lives overnight. The rule wasn't an abstract policy, it was a direct threat to their sense of security and belonging. Imagine being thousands of miles from home, isolated during a global pandemic, and suddenly told you might be forced to leave the country you've worked so hard to be a part of. The uncertainty was overwhelming. Many students couldn't return home due to strict travel bans and closed borders, leaving them trapped in limbo, anxious, helpless, and unsure of what the future would hold. The policy forced a cruel choice: risk your health by attending in-person classes during a pandemic, or lose your visa and everything you've built. For many, neither option felt safe or fair. Years of hard work, sacrifice, and financial investment in the American dream were suddenly at risk. Students who had dedicated themselves to their studies faced the possibility of losing it all in an instant. The emotional toll was immense: sleepless nights, constant stress, and a deep sense of betrayal by a system they once trusted. Many felt abandoned and invisible. International students pay high tuition, contribute to campus diversity, and bring unique perspectives to classrooms. Yet, their status in the U.S. remains fragile, subject to sudden changes in policy. The episode shattered trust in the U.S. education system, leaving students and their families questioning the country's commitment to fairness and opportunity. Even after the rule was reversed, the scars remained. The fear and uncertainty lingered, making it hard for students to feel truly secure again. Many began to question if America was truly a welcoming place to study, or if their dreams could be taken away at any moment. Their stories spread quickly, sparking conversations online and in the media, and changing perceptions of the U.S. abroad. The world was watching. The chilling effect on future applicants was real and lasting. Many prospective students began to reconsider their plans, wondering if the risk was worth it, and if the American dream was still within reach. While the U.S. created chaos, Canada saw opportunity. Canada rolled out flexible policies, letting students start online and still qualify for work permits, a pathway to permanent residency. The message was clear: if you feel unwelcome in the U.S., come to Canada. Canadian universities launched campaigns targeting students reconsidering the U.S. They highlighted Canada's safety, diversity, and stability. Applications from international students surged, while U.S. interest faltered. Canada's strategy wasn't luck. It was a calculated move to attract global talent. By welcoming students, Canada positioned itself as the smarter, more reliable choice. The contrast with the U.S. couldn't have been starker. Canada's gain was America's loss, shifting the balance of power in North American education. In a globalized world, one country's misstep is another's golden opportunity. Why do international students matter so much? They're an economic powerhouse, paying higher tuition and spending billions in local economies. Their presence supports jobs and keeps universities financially healthy. But their value goes far beyond money. They bring brainpower, new ideas, and global perspectives. Many study in STEM fields, fueling innovation and entrepreneurship. Immigrants and their children have founded some of America's biggest companies. International students enrich campus life and foster cross-cultural understanding. They build bridges between nations and create goodwill that lasts generations. When a country turns them away, it loses economic growth, innovation, and soft power. Canada recognized this and welcomed students as a national asset. The U.S., by contrast, risked losing its greatest competitive advantage. The lesson: international students are not a burden, they're a treasure. Canada's open-door policy is more than kindness. It's a strategy for global influence. By attracting top talent, Canada builds a smarter, more innovative workforce. Many students stay after graduation, filling key jobs and starting businesses. This helps Canada tackle its aging population and economic challenges. Immigration of young, educated people keeps the economy dynamic. Canada's reputation as open and tolerant attracts not just students, but skilled workers and investors. This soft power boosts Canada's global standing and diplomatic influence. International students become future leaders and lifelong ambassadors for Canada. The result: a global network of allies and a stronger, more respected nation. Canada's quiet strategy is helping it punch above its weight on the world stage. It's a masterclass in turning opportunity into lasting power. The fallout for the U.S. could be severe. Even after reversing the policy, the message was clear. America is unpredictable for international talent. This risks a reverse brain drain. Top minds choosing Canada, Australia, or the UK instead. Applications to U.S. universities have already declined. Losing international students means less innovation, fewer startups, and a weaker economy. Nobel laureates, inventors, and tech founders often come from abroad. If they go elsewhere, so does America's edge. The economic hit is real: less tuition, fewer jobs, and shrinking local economies. Companies may move R&D overseas if they can't find skilled graduates. This is a self-inflicted wound driven by short-term politics but risking long-term decline. Restoring trust will take time and real change. Until then, the U.S. risks losing its greatest asset, the world's best minds. This isn't just about education, it's about shifting global power. America's soft power once drew the world's best and brightest. But recent policies have damaged that image, making the U.S. seem unreliable. Meanwhile, countries like Canada are stepping up, promoting themselves as open and stable. The result is a slow realignment of influence, with power becoming more distributed. The U.S. can no longer take its top spot for granted. In trade, tech, and diplomacy, America's retreat creates openings for others. The student visa debacle is a microcosm of this larger trend. Reputation is fragile. Lose your magnetic pull and you lose strength. The U.S. faces a choice: remain a beacon of opportunity or risk isolation and decline. The world is watching which path it will take. The damage to America's reputation is real but not permanent. The U.S. still boasts world-class universities, but trust must be rebuilt. Recovery starts with stable, welcoming policies for international students. The U.S. could learn from Canada, make immigration predictable, the visa process transparent, and pathways to stay clear. Universities must advocate for students and show global engagement. America's openness has always been its strength. Closing the door is a recipe for decline. By recommitting to its ideals, the U.S. can regain its place as a beacon for global talent. The competition is fierce, and leadership can no longer be taken for granted.